tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Govardhan Hill, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host Raghunath and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Govardhan Hill. We made it. And what a morning we've had, Kaustubha. What a morning we've had.
I bet.
I think we had a breakthrough last night. You know, I got to chant. I don't know if you saw that thing I posted in the stories. I got to chant with this incredible Goswami from the Radharaman temple, this young man, 20 years old.
Wow.
Oh my God. He was one of those guys that he plays the harmonium and you immediately realize, I don't know how to play the harmonium.
I've been faking it all along.
and the guy with him was playing the cartels and you realize, I don't know what the hell I'm doing on the cartels. Then the guy playing the tablas, you're like, I don't even know what this guy is. It was just like such a higher level of musical excellence. Oh my, it made me realize like I'm so low on the mountain and I have so much more to climb. Right down to my, right? The way he was singing, Mara? Oh, it was beautiful. You couldn't even, it was like singing like an angel would sing. He was not even playing the harmonium a lot of times. He was just playing it, then stopping, then just using his hands. It was so like refined and beautiful. It was quite nice. But
nothing like Raj and Vrndavan and meeting so many amazing people.
Oh my God. Then they were doing this all-night yagya.
Oh yeah, the 9-hour yagna.
Oh my God. I talked to this priest who was doing the yagya. This guy's powerful guy too. Unbelievable. He started doing this rituals at the end of the yagya. So he's been up all night. He calls me, come Raghunath, come. And he does this like Vulcan vice grip on my skull, sticking his thumb into my third eye. And then he's just chanting japa. I don't know what mantra he was chanting, right? He had his hand in his bead bag and kept his hand on my skull for one round. And he took his hand away and he goes, now you will become bulletproof. I was like, nobody can betray you.
You got that, Mara?
You got that? You got that?
Were you concerned I was going to betray him?
Well, you never know. See, Mara has access to we start filming as soon as we start, so everything before the show actually starts is filmed, and Mara's got a whole database of all kinds of things.
All the one.
She could betray us at any moment. All that hot mic stuff.
Hot mic. Then we had this incredible morning this morning. I mean, what we did in 3.5 hours this morning was out of control. First we went to have darshan at Krishna Balaram Mandir. Then we went to the samadhis of Yamuna Devi and Gunagraya Maharaj and unbelievable.
Vibhu Chaitanya.
And they went all the way to Gopeshwar Mahadev, which was total spiritual chaos down there. Mm-hmm. It's just people throwing flowers and ringing bells and feet are slipping and it's
milk all over the place.
Milk's everywhere. Richie Mancuso, the evil golfer, is like, what the hell is going on? Where am I? Where's your God? And Rich here, there he is. Yeah, he's here. And then we went to some just, then the great thing about Vrindavan, random cool temples just doing their thing. Like there's the popular ones that are packed, and there's these ones that are completely empty and they're giant and they're ancient. Then we went to that cool Jagannath temple, went there, had a big sat in with a kirtan with these, just local 24-hour kirtan people there. Then we went to Tatiastan and
Oh yeah.
right in time for Tatiastan. We're getting fed wherever we go. People are just handing us food.
That's important. That's
Yeah,
the
no, it's
culture,
just-
right? That's the Bhakti
Yeah,
culture.
you come, we hand then
The temple where they were chanting the Ramayana.
Yeah, they went to this temple where everybody worships Lord Ram. Everybody's got the big Ram tilak on their forehead from South India. Everyone, Ram altar, everyone's chanting the Ramayana in the morning. This is just like business, and there's kirtans going through the streets. Just another day in the spiritual world.
Beautiful. Actually,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, although in one sense I would love to be there, but in one sense, I just feel like I'm there right now. I feel the same ecstasy just hearing you describe it all.
It's the power of sound vibration, isn't it? That's why we have sanghas. We tell these stories, we hear these stories, and that just sound can raise the consciousness.
Nice, nice.
That's why
All right.
we're reading the Bhagavatam. Yeah, we're
We have
debating
announcements?
whether.
Oh, well, go ahead.
No, okay, I'm not gonna.
All right, there's a Bhakti Recovery Group meeting at noon today.
Poor Mary, we can't see her
No,
face.
sorry.
Got this mic
I'm
right.
scared
Don't
to move the
move
mic.
it. Yeah, don't move it because
Uh,
the cable shifts and the whole thing
Yeah,
shuts down.
sorry you can't see me. Bhakti Recovery Group meeting at noon today. There's a Ayurveda for Spring Kapha Balancing Workshop with Lauren Baptiste tonight for Patreon members. It starts at 7 p.m. And then Alexandra Moga is starting her daily pranayam practice as well today, this morning at 9 a.m. for our Patreon members.
Okay.
And there are still some spots available for the Wisdom of the Sages retreat in Italy in July. If people want to sign up, they can go to wisdomofthesages.com.
Yeah.
You got
You might
pranayama
bring us-
going. You got Ayurveda going. All kind of stuff.
We got a lot.
Yeah, you get to meet the famous Karuna, 8 years old.
Maybe. Her
May-
mother says maybe.
Oh, in
Do you think
Italy?
do you think it's the mother going, maybe we'll go. Maybe we'll go. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll go.
Maybe. Then you hope they forget about it and
Yeah.
never has to come up again. No, I don't think so. I think it's a real maybe.
Okay. Alrighty.
We
Well,
ready to
all right.
get into it?
We're
Did you want to do
dive
that
in?
nugget, or should we just hold that nugget today?
No, we got a good nugget.
Here.
Tick knock nug.
Knock.
Yeah, this was a good nug.
You like this
We
one?
had internet issues this morning, so apologize, everybody. Oh, wait a second.
I was waiting for that.
Did you get the photo I sent you? You didn't say anything about the photo.
Oh yeah. I saw that photo. You sent it late last night, so I saw it this morning. Yeah, that was Madhava's rock band.
Out of all the people I could have run into, out of all the people in the world in Vrindavan, and I was thinking, man, if I could only meet the guys from Madhava's rock band on the way to the temple.
Well, you know
I
what they
bumped-
say,
I-
Raghunath.
I
Every
practically
tree in
bumped-
Vrindavan is a desire tree,
Yeah.
and your desire is
it-
fulfilled.
We were rushing to greet the deities, and he was leaving, and it was basically me walking right into him. And we just looked at each other, and I was like,
I know you.
It was like it was scripted. Like it was so sweet. He looked just as happy to see Raghu as Raghu was to see him. It was
yes.
really sweet.
So, did you line up the interview? What's going on with that?
Now we didn't line it up, man. We
Oh,
should have.
come on, really?
We should have. We should have got.
Well, you guys should reach out today and line up an interview day.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
send him the picture. And
Yeah,
Madhava's
you got to
rock
post
band.
this, man.
They're very popular.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, here's the
Nugget.
nugget for today. This is from
Tick Nhat Han.
Thich Nhat Hanh, also known as a Thich Nhat Nug.
Okay.
I asked the leaf whether it was frightened because it was autumn and the other leaves were falling. The leaf told me no. During the whole spring and summer, I was completely alive. I worked hard to help nurse the tree. And now much of me is in the tree. I'm not limited by this form. I'm also the whole tree. And when I go back to the soil, I'll continue to nourish the tree. So I don't worry at all. As I leave this branch and float to the ground, I will wave to the tree and tell her, I will see you soon, very soon. That day, there was a wind blowing, and after a while, I saw the leaf leave the branch and float down to the soil, dancing joyfully. Because as it floated, it saw itself already there in the tree. It was so happy. I bowed my head, knowing that I have a lot to learn from the leaf. If we look very deeply, we will transcend birth and death. Tomorrow, I will continue to be, but you will have to be very attentive to see me. I will be a flower or a leaf. I will be in these forms, and I will say hello to you.
Hello. I'll be looking around at different flowers. Hey, that's Raghunath. Hello.
If you are attentive enough, you will recognize me, and you may greet me. I will be very, very happy. Ticked not Han. With a tick knock nug. That was a great.
You like that,
little
right?
Nugget.
I
Yes.
enjoyed that too. Yeah.
That was really good. That was very. Did he make that up?
I don't know. I just saw it. Someone
Could
shared
be
it.
enlightened.
Yeah. Well, he definitely had it's deep realizations. But you know what I like most about it? It's kind of playful in the way that it's written and everything. But I did feel that there's something conveyed through it. Like a real, like just kind of, the realization that we all need to become like this leaf. In other words, fearless. But like in a fearless, generally, like if we use the word fearless, we think of like someone running out onto a battlefield or something like that. But like fearless in the sense that like when you're situated in your own spiritual nature, you realize, in one sense, although materially, like we sometimes talk materially, we're very vulnerable, right? Like the body at any moment, like the leaf at any moment can fall off the tree.
Yep.
But invulnerable in the sense that, but I'm spirit. I'm not the body. I'm made of spirit. It's only when I'm identifying with the mind and identifying with the body do I feel vulnerable. Do I feel anxiety? Do I feel, and all the negative emotions, fear and anger and frustration, and the whole competitive nature sets in, and all the conflicts set in. But the more that we're in touch with that, like I'm eternal. I am spirit. I'm eternal. The more that you really feel it, you kind of just become happy and joyful.
Yeah, there must be a very, very deep realization when you get that concept, like nothing here is mine. Even these things like that appear really like mine, like this seems like my house, this seems like my apartment, this seems like my stuff. These kids that look like me, right? The kids look like it. They're mine.
That's a trick of Maya. They make them look
Trick
just
of
like
Maya. They look like the little versions of you. They're not yours.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I like that.
Yeah. Real freedom
Han.
when you get
Okay.
that. And the body itself is not even mine.
Nope.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway,
You look
it's getting-
lost, Raghunath.
I'm a little, you know what?
What's good?
3:30, 3:45 is sort of nap
Winding
time.
down? Okay.
No, it's nap time. And now it's 4:30. And I just woke up from my jet lag nap.
When I called you yesterday, I was like, okay, we're gonna do. It was like 15 minutes before the show. I was like, okay, you up and around. You were out there, guy. You were like,
I was like, there's nothing worse than like jet lag, because in jet lag world, it's like the middle of the night,
right.
So yeah, I apologize.
No,
but I've been
nothing to
really,
apologize for.
really I'm really ecstatic all day.
Good. Yeah, the melancholy's gone. I noticed. I think maybe when that Brahmin put his thumb on your third eye there, or something. I think he relieved you of all melancholy, and you're bulletproof now.
He did. I think that guy was powerful.
Okay.
And chanting with that kid yesterday, that transcendentalist child, incredible.
What about Tatiastan? You got to tell people about Tatiastan.
Tatiastan is it's like a forest ashram. There's nothing but sand on the ground, no electricity. You can't show your cameras. You come in there and just the dust, the sand is like thick.
It's like the sand of Vrindavan is considered like holy, right? It's like it's considered, and so much of it has been due to construction and a whole economic development in that. When you and I used to go there 30-something years ago, it was relatively, there's a lot of that sand around.
A lot of sandy. There was a lot of sand.
But this one ashram has just kind of preserved it, although it's disappearing. But the whole big ashram is just covered in thick in that
And
sand.
massive trees you can pray to. I tell you, I prayed for a lot of people. A lot of people have been sending me like, say a prayer for me. I stood at that Tiyastan and prayed to the dust of Vrindavan for a lot of people out there today.
Nice.
That was
And there's all these
special.
sadhus walking around there, right? Like they all live there. There's
Everybody,
like the big
you know
guru.
what they do, Kaustubha? They make like a mud thing of the sand
Yeah.
and smear it all over their
All over the
face,
face,
all over
yeah.
their skull,
Yeah.
and then they take a wet finger and clean the center of their forehead like they're putting on tilak.
They
But
do
the
it the
tilak
opposite.
is-
It's like a negative
it's the
tilak.
opposite.
Yeah.
Exactly. So their whole face, like if you're new to it and you were just walking the door and turn the corner and see this guy, you'd be like, it's like this guy's covered like a white face.
Yeah, but you got to understand the mood behind it. They're like, this sand, Krishna's feet walk through this sand. The gopis' feet walk through this dust. Like it's like, I just want to be covered in it. And when you put it on, it's it must be like, I'm feeling their presence.
Yeah, it's like that. These guys are sort of high and they're walking around, and the brahmacharis there just it's beautiful. It's a beautiful scene. Then of
The
course,
guru
holy
over there in that one little hut, right? And people go over there.
yeah, we
and
saw the
take
guru.
darshan.
Yeah,
And the temple itself is like you're outdoors standing in that thick sand, and then they open up the temple, the altar doors, and they sing their songs, right? They get into those songs.
yeah, it was beautiful. They sing these like Gregorian chants,
Yeah.
basically.
And it was packed, and it's like mid-morning on a Thursday.
I know,
It's
everything's
so
packed.
busy.
It's one thing if this was like a festival day. It's not. It's just and every temple's packed.
Yeah.
And there's just kirtans going through the streets. That Ram temple, it's just like a whole bunch of swamis just chanting the Ramayan. That's probably going on all day. I have a new meme. Whenever whenever I see something like some old guy doing something crazy, I was like, that's my retirement. That's my retirement. That's my retirement. It's like some
plan.
old guy pumping water, taking a bath. I was like, that's my retirement. There's some other guy just like chanting the entire Ramayan. That's my retirement. It's just like, I
You
want
ever
to
see
do
those?
everything.
You do see those men in temple, like you walk into a temple, right? Which means you walk through some gates, maybe through a courtyard, and then further on, like there's like a raised platform, and there's an altar, and in that courtyard you find like an old man, right? And he's sitting on like one of those wooden beds, like, right? It's just like a cheap kind of bed made out of, and maybe it's got like a little rug thrown on top of it, and then he's got a little wooden platform, and he's got like the Ramayana, or he's got the Mahabharata, or he's got the Bhagavatam
In Sanskrit.
in
They're just
Sanskrit,
chanting it.
and just chanting it all day. They just sit there and people walk in, they hear him chanting, right? And that's what
That's
he
my
does. He just
retirement.
chants all day, right? It's like he does Wisdom of the Sages nonstop every day.
Yeah.
That's just what you do.
People
People
this
come and give
Ram
you some
temple
food.
in this Ram temple, the only reason why we were looking for a bathroom, I think, and then all of a sudden some guy also with sandalwood pulp all over his face came up and started like yelling at us, and really I realized like,
I
he's
know
inviting
him.
us.
I know him.
He's inviting us into his temple. And so I was like, all right, I don't understand a word you were saying, but it's something about Lord Ram. So I was just like, let's just go in here and follow this man. And he's talking to me the whole time in my ear, not speaking a word of English. And I'm just like catching bits and pieces. And then I was like, oh, wait a second. He's offering us prasad, I think. And I was like, prasad utar hai? He's like, oh, prasad utar hai. I was like, okay, you guys, we're going to go for, I think he's inviting us to lunch right now. I was like, okay, let's go. We're going. Actually, it wasn't lunch. It was like 8 in the morning.
It was breakfast.
Yeah, we
What
just
did he
sat there
serve?
and ate chickpeas and bundis. You know what
Okay.
bundis are?
Those
It's like what they make
deep
bundi
fried-
ladus out of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, it was super simple, but super good.
Even though when you said the guy was yelling at you, I was thinking in Tiyastan, there's one sadhu that walks around, and if you're just a little too frivolous, he'll
I
like
was
jump
in
on you.
full force today. That guy
you
was
gotta
in
be
full
careful
force.
around
I also said that's my retirement.
You go around
Because
chastising
we had
people.
done everything. We had gone to the temple. We'd seen the guru. Then we're just like exhausted, laying in the sand. We finished our spiritual morning. It's 10 o'clock. We've been going since 5:30, and all of a sudden we hear, "Ah, Guru Dev! Ah, Guru Dev!" and like come behind the tree, coming out from like behind a tree is this big old heavy set back guy. And I was like, that's my retirement. That's just walking around singing the glories of the guru. Like
He's
at
not.
the
He
top
doesn't
of
worry
his
about being fat,
lungs.
right? Like this is the last thing I know. He's not self-conscious or anything like that.
No, it's
right?
not self-conscious. No way. He's respected. He's respected. It's a culture. It means you're healthy and happy in India.
That's
But
right.
he's just singing to the top of his lungs in perfect pitch, by the way. He's not just screaming. He's just saying, "Ah, Guru Dad," and then he would go, "Jai Radha." But it's so enchanting. And so, and this time he had an assistant. He had an assistant going, "Jai, Jai, Jai, Jai."
But my retirement?
That's your
That's
retirement. Ah, Jai.
Oh, the land of
my
Raj,
retirement.
Raghunath, the land of Raj.
Really, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. We're debating whether to go to Nandagram tomorrow.
Oh, well,
It's a-
you got
it's a-
connections with that Goswami there now, right?
I know it's a little crazy and out of control though, but I'm
Why
always
is
up
that?
for a little crazy and out of control.
He's crazy at Nandagram?
Yes, it gets crazy tomorrow. Because Holy
Well,
starts.
because Holy's kicking in. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a whole nother
And
thing.
Holy is just out of control.
Yeah.
And I will say they're throwing colors in just the temples today in Vrindavan, like at Banki Vihari. So you have like a normal people walking down the street, and then you see one like person dressed very nicely, except covered in red dye. It's almost like, oh, what the hell's going on? That could have been me.
All right, Raghu, let's get into
All
it.
right, let's
huh?
start this. Let's get serious.
That's right.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome in the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyanat Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Mara?
Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Jai, Raghunath.
Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, Text 46.
That's 40. Are we repeating the one we were doing yesterday?
Yeah, I thought we'd repeat
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
Because we read it kind of quickly.
And there's a good commentary on this one. I think we should read that commentary, Raghu.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were all like, we got to read this again.
Yeah, this is the description of the form of Lord Vishnu. This is the object of meditation for Dhruva.
Yeah. Narada Muni continued, the Lord's form is always youthful. Every limb and every part of his body is properly formed.
Formed, Raghunath.
There's like a dark piece of
Probably
schmutz on my
formed.
computer. Properly formed, free from defect. His eyes and lips are pinkish like the rising sun. He is always prepared to give shelter to the surrendered soul. And anyone so fortunate as to look upon him feels all satisfaction. The Lord is always worthy to be the master of the surrendered soul. And for he is the ocean of mercy.
For he is the ocean of mercy. So that form is situated in the heart of every living being, right?
Everyone.
Everyone.
Not just your friends.
Okay.
Right?
Excuse me. Yes, I admit that.
Not you personally, but everybody.
And
God's in
every animal, right?
and every animal, not just the pretty puppies and cats that you guys like.
I was thinking about this, and I'm going to say this. And by the way, I want to be careful when I want to preface this by saying that I'm not criticizing anybody with pets or anything like that, but I'm just saying the culture of pets is different than the culture that the sadhus have in relation to animals. In other words, like, you ever look right in, like if you're living out there in the forest all alone, and then an animal, deer wanders up, or even a scarier animal, a wild boar, or
Wild boar.
a
Yeah.
tiger, Like,
Yeah.
the sadhu will look into the eyes of that animal, right?
No.
What do you mean, no?
Won't. You never
No,
look into their eyes.
you look into the eyes,
They see it
and
as a threat.
no, it's not. But that's the point. They don't see it that way. They look into the eyes, and when even you can do this with a dog, right? Like you can look at, when I was spending time with some of the animals when we were over there at the Sham Ashram in Colombia, the horse, right? You got to look into the eyes of the horse, or what, you think it's getting
They'll
weird?
kill you.
No, that horse, it doesn't kill you. Or the dogs like Sati. Remember Sati?
Yes, Sati the dog.
And so you look into the eyes, and when you look there, you begin you because you're hearing so much Bhagavatam and so much Bhagavad Gita and so much philosophy, you're looking there and you're realizing there's a soul just like me right in there. And you look in the eyes, and you see into the soul of that creature. It's looking at you, it's thinking about you. You're looking at it, it's thinking, but you kind of realize that we're one, we are the same. We are both souls entrapped in material bodies. And the pet culture is a little bit different. Like, so when the sadhu is looking at that animal, it's like you and I, it's a spiritual vision. The pet culture, I don't want to say it's all, I'm saying it can be like, you are mine, right? You are the object of my enjoyment, right? Like I derive pleasure from you. You understand what I'm saying?
You're walking a tightrope here with.
Sorry, I know I'm walking a tightrope. And I'm saying a pet owner could do that too. But I'm just saying, in general, amongst the materialistic pet owners, it's kind of like my pet is like an object for my enjoyment. Whereas for the sadhu thing is a little different, But I think it's important, it is important that we connect with the animals, see the soul in them. And every one of us has this form within it, this form with the eyes like the rising sun. Imagine looking into the eyes of Lord Vishnu, and they've got this reddish kind of pinkish hue, and it looks like the sunrise. Sunrise is very beautiful, isn't it? That color,
Yeah.
that blend of colors.
Yeah.
And so he's got it right in his eyes, and he's got this very beautiful form, and he's got this very sweet mood. And when you see that form, you feel all satisfaction. It's right in the heart. We just got to find it.
In all truth, I look at my animals. I have 2 cats and a dog.
You're a
and
transcendentalist, Raghu.
I look
you are
right
a
in their
sadhu.
eyes. I look in Gus's eyes, my Labrador,
Yeah.
and I just look at him, and he looks at me, and we just look at each other. And I go, and I feel like he's telling me, I'm so screwed up. I'm so screwed up in this dog body. What have I done? What have I freaking done to get this dog body? That's what I feel like he's trying to tell me.
Yeah, I think
like,
Gus is saying that for sure. And then you got like Madhu. Madhu's like more content, right? Madhu the sheep.
Madhu's the sheep. Yeah. Madhu's. Yeah.
He's a
He doesn't look at me so much in the eyes.
Really? I thought he's always looking in the eyes. He comes up, he wanders right up. Kind of outgoing sheep.
Yeah. Never look the monkeys in the eyes, though.
No, that's another thing. The monkeys, you want to be in Vrindavan, you want to be a little careful with.
Yeah, don't look them in the eyes.
Okay, I'm with you there. Although, tell you what, I bet the sadhus can look those monkeys in the eyes without any fear, And then you get on that level, they feel it.
All right.
All right, let's read the commentary.
All right, Senor Squirrel.
It's not a squirrel. It's not you see, it's on the
You're always
subject.
a defender of squirreldom.
It's on the subject. Okay, why don't you read the commentary?
All right. Everyone has to surrender. Senor Squirrel. Everyone has to surrender to someone superior. That is always the nature of our living condition.
That's a huge statement.
That's a big statement. Read that again. Everyone has to surrender to someone superior. That is always the nature of our living condition. At the present moment, we are trying to surrender to someone, either to society or to our nation, family, state, or government. The surrendering process already exists, but it is never perfect because the person or institution unto whom we surrender is imperfect. Ooh. And our surrender, having so many ulterior motives, is also imperfect.
Oh, what?
As such, Prabhupada really thought these stuff out, didn't he?
Yeah.
As such, in the material world, no one is worthy to accept anyone's surrender, nor does anyone fully surrender to anyone else unless obliged to do so.
Mm-hmm.
But here, the surrendering process is voluntary, and the Lord is worthy to accept the surrender. This surrender by the living entity occurs automatically as soon as he sees the beautiful, youthful nature of the Lord.
Okay. Right. So it said here,
You
he's
can't
always
help-
prepared to give shelter to their surrendered soul, and anyone that so fortunate as to look upon him feels all satisfaction.
Yeah, you can't help it but want to surrender to him. The surrender by the living entity occurs automatically as soon as he sees the beautiful nature of the Lord. Okay, continue with that.
You know, I just something came to mind. It's a little touchy, but I think I'm going
Going
go
back
ahead
to
and
these
bring it up
pet
anyway.
thing, Kaustubha?
No, not the pet thing. It's
Throw
about
me
the
this.
surrendering thing. It's about the surrendering thing. But in other words, what Prabhupada's, he's trying to help us understand something, right? He understands our psychology. He understands that we are all terrified of surrendering to anyone, right? Which
Yeah.
really ultimately means, and he's saying, well, there's a reason for it. Look, because it's so imperfect in the world that we're moving around in. You know, it's like you got to surrender to someone, but they've got all kind of they've got all kind of issues themselves, and then we've got ulterior motives when we're surrendering. The whole thing is just a warped reflection of what true love looks like, you know. And I was just thinking of an example. I was speaking to one woman who, I don't know exactly how I should characterize it, but let's say she was a form of feminism that was like super
Extreme feminism.
Extreme, yeah, it was super extreme. It wasn't just about like equal rights and so on like that. It was about like it had a whole nother bent to
Yeah.
it. And so we were discussing, you know, like the relationship between a husband and a wife. And she was like saying, you know, I was saying they're serving each other, right? And she was saying, why should a woman ever serve a man? You know, and I could just see I could see that it was
Reactionary.
yeah, it didn't even matter that saying, but the man is serving the woman. But why should a woman ever serve a man? And it was, I could see in her eyes, right? I was looking in her eyes, and I could see that she'd been hurt, you know.
Hurt.
She had been hurt, and it created this kind of hardening of the heart. I said, and it didn't even occur to her, you know. But I said, why should a woman serve? Because she loves him. That's why. You know, when you love someone, you naturally want to serve. You know, and so I think, you know, to one degree or another, we all get a little warped. We all get a little jaded in this world. And so Prabhupada's trying to say, try to understand. He's saying, look at what Narada's saying to Dhruva. He's saying that there's this form of God that is not only incredibly beautiful and attractive to look at, but it has this mood, you know, of sweetness and kindness. And when you see that form, you naturally want to surrender. You know, out of love, you surrender. And that's a beautiful thing. You don't have to guard yourself against that. We need to be clear about where we all have. He's saying we all have the tendency to surrender to someone superior. So we all have the you could say we have, well, no, we all have that proclivity, but what I'm saying is, so therefore we all have something. It's like we have something very precious to offer to someone, right? But we need to be careful where. It's not that we don't offer it. We do give our heart, but it's just a question of where we're going to give our heart. I guess that's what my point.
What is that verse I quoted yesterday?
What's that?
From Narottam Das Thakur.
I don't remember.
I've uselessly served,
Oh,
wicked
yeah,
and
yeah,
miser. What's the first sentence of that?
In
I've
Bengali?
wasted my life serving wicked and miserly men.
Well, she would have liked that one.
What's that?
She would have
She
liked
would've
that. Yeah, but it's true. It's true.
I wonder if I'm
All right.
wicked and miserly.
You want to finish the commentary?
Sure. The description given by Narada Muni is not imaginary. The form of the Lord is understood by the Parampara system. Mayavadi philosophers say that we have to imagine the form of the Lord. Mayavadi philosophers say that we have to imagine the form of the Lord, but here Narada Muni does not say that. Rather, he gives the description of the Lord from authoritative sources, not just imagination.
Right.
He is himself an authority, Narada, and he is able to go to Vaikuntha Loka and see the Lord personally. Therefore, his description of the bodily features of the Lord is not an imagination. Sometimes we give instructions to our students about the bodily features of the Lord, and they paint him, right, like a devotee artist.
Yep.
Their paintings are not imaginary. The description is given through disciplic succession, just like that given by Narada Muni, who sees the Lord and describes his bodily features. Therefore, such descriptions should be accepted. And if they are painted, that is not imaginative painting. Right? You hear people like, how do you know Krishna looks like that? How do you know Krishna wears that? How do you know Krishna's? Yeah, because it's explained.
Yeah, you know,
It's like when
Prabhupada
you're
says-
carving a deity, just like when you're carving a deity. Yeah,
thing.
it's not you're not just saying, well, I feel like this is God. No, you can't just make that up. There is a way to carve God. I met a carver today, a deity carver, a deity carver. Yeah, and he was like, as he said, his father carves deity, his grandfather carves deity. They're lineages of deity carvers. Do you know that? It's a thing. It's a whole thing.
No, did I tell you about, you know, my Radha deities here were carved not by the same man, but by the son of the man that carved all the deities and beautiful deities in so many of the ISKCON temples, that Pandey and Sons, right? Pandey and Sons in Jaipur. And, you know, when I went there, the man who carved all those deities, you know, decades ago, he's sitting out front, right? Again, on one of those little cheap wooden little bed type platforms, you know.
Yeah.
This is his retirement plan, right? He spent his life carving beautiful forms of Radha and Krishna, right? And he retires. His kids take care of that now, right? He sits on that platform at the door, and he just chants japa, right, all day long.
His
Happy.
retirement plan.
He's got these big, super Coke bottle glasses. You know,
Love
like
those. That's a big thing in India.
Incredibly thick, you know, and he just sit because you know his work required such, you know, focus, and he just sits there and chants. But yeah, they hand it down to the next generation, and they follow it. You know, did you go to that Instagram page that I mentioned yesterday, that Drita Art?
No, truthfully, I've been trying my best to be off my phone.
Oh, okay. Well, in any case,
I'm just trying to be better than you.
you are better in every way, and so, you know, if you go to that page, Drita DRDHA _arts, I believe, and on Instagram, it shows, you know, he's following that Shilpa, you know,
Shilpa Shastra.
Shilpa Shastra, and others,
This devotee's from Mayapur, right?
He may live in Mayapur now. I'm not sure. He's
Yeah.
American,
You know, he's
by birth.
Janeshwar's teacher, and Janeshwar was teaching my son. Remember?
Teaching him this style of art.
Shilpa Shastra, yeah.
No
It's
kidding.
really cool how they teach it too.
Okay. Yeah, it's Drita _art, DRDHA _ART on Instagram. But when you see, it's all done, there's a whole method of laying out like a grid so that you get the proportions of all the features exact, you know? And so you look at like I really recommend go to that website. You just like look at the pictures of like Hanuman or Lord Vishnu there, and they almost like glow, you know, like there's something in it, like in the devotion that's put into it, and the precision of the symmetry that's put into it. That from that style of art, it almost kind of like you feel like some kind of I don't know, something beyond just like, you know, ink on paper. You know, it's like that. It's that well, like Prabhupada's saying, it's not imaginary, right? It's like it is that form. And so when Prabhupada says here, the Mayavadi philosophers say that we have to imagine the form of the Lord, this literally the word Mayavadi here, it's referring to people that interpret Vedanta as if the absolute truth or God has no form, that ultimately truth is formless, and that all form is illusion. So therefore, like Lord Vishnu's form isn't real. It is an imagination, right? It doesn't exist ultimately because all form is illusion. And so for them, it's not so important necessarily. You can in their minds, you can imagine for what Prabhupada is saying is, no, we don't understand Vedanta that way. We understand that form is eternal. It's not that material form is temporary and always shifting, but there is such a thing as spiritual form that is beyond time. So it's like this text said, was it this text? Yeah, the Lord's form is always youthful because it's not subject to time. But the form actually exists, And the mind is meant to be brought to that form, not to anything else that we can. It's almost like, like you can't just put a letter in any box. You got to put it in the mailbox in order for it to connect to the post office and go where you want it to go. And so you don't just meditate on any form. You meditate on, there's an authorized mailbox, there's an authorized form. Narada's giving that authorized form to Dhruva to meditate on.
There's another little side squirrel here that it's the art has more potency when painted by the devotee, as opposed to anyone just painting. I draw a picture of Krishna. In the same way, like great food is great, but it has more potency when it's actually cooked with love and offered with love.
Sure.
That's when you see devotional art painted by a devotee, or kirtan painted by people, or kirtan sang by people who love Krishna, or Bhagavatam spoken by a devotee as opposed to the academia. It's different. It comes out, has a different effect on the consciousness.
And that's why even your imitation harmonium playing, Raghunath, it conveys a very deep devotion.
Oh man,
potent.
my harmonium playing. I don't know how to play that thing. I realized it yesterday.
You come from a different school of music, Raghunath. It's like,
after Mara says, "Oh, you're going to do kirtan tonight with this person." I was like, "Oh." A whole nother, my problem is I don't do kirtan for devotees usually. I do it for yoga students who sort of like don't know much about anything.
But the devotees
and then
love your
they
kirtan.
sort of, huh?
The devotees love your kirtan.
I feel awkward,
But you know what's a really beautiful thing though, Raghunath? Is when there's someone that's got all those skills, right? Like the person that you're talking about, he's a Radharaman Goswami. It means that there's this temple that's like 500 years old in Vrindavan that has that like the families that run that temple have been running it for 500 years, right? It's like been handed down, and it's like a beacon of Vaishnava culture there. It's a beacon of bhakti culture. That's it. So it's the culture in the worship, the culture in the music, that philosophically, these all these aspects of culture have been handed down over generations, and they're taken very seriously. And you're born into it and raised in it, and you become and these very cultured people come out of it. So this is a person that understands kirtan and music and singing, and he's been trained. And so when you meet someone that's got that kind of culture and that kind of skill and ability, but they know, right, that even though all that is nice, even though all that what they have is nice, they know that the most important ingredient is really the devotion. So they can sit with someone that does kirtan in a far less refined way, but they can feel their devotional mood in it, and they enthusiastically embrace it. Right?
He was very gracious. Truthfully, he was very gracious because I randomly found this guy on YouTube. And I was like, oh, I used to secretly envy him. Like, oh my God, this guy is so good. Who is this guy? I thought he was American, actually. I thought he was like Indian, but he's not. But I was like, so impressed. I would play these YouTube videos. And then so Maharaj goes, oh, and this is the person you're going to be singing tonight. I was like, him? I was like, I know who you are. I watch you on YouTube. But you got to go to his Instagram thing is Manas, Manas, Manas _ Rag, RAAG _ Goswami. Manas _ Rag, RAAG _ Goswami. I have no internet on this phone, but he just wrote me a message. So I got a feeling he's got some music. And I put something on my stories yesterday of him chanting. The guy was so damn impressive, man. I know so little, so well. That's all I have to say. I know so little. You know what? I think I want to take birth again in a devotee family and be raised a devotee, so I can. I'm just so uncultured and everything. I want a do-over.
Well, Krishna is Bhava Grahi Janardana Raghunath. He's accepting your devotion. He's accepting you out there on the stage with shelter, just like thrashing it out there. Just like he accepts, the sadhu in Vrindavan singing the bhajan.
Isn't it amazing? Like, I was actually a professional musician. Like, I got paid to make music, and it was like only in Kali Yuga can a man with no musical talent be a professional musician. This is Kali Yuga.
Oh, Krishna.
All right, what are our takeaways, Maraji?
Already?
Get Mara. Is it
All right.
takeaway time? It's
Yeah, I guess it
57.
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get Mara in the camera here. She's
Sorry.
been
Mara.
sitting off camera the whole
Yeah.
show here.
All right. The less that you're attached to the body, the happier you are.
Yeah.
Your mini-me is a trick of Maya.
Yeah.
Yeah, mini-me's
Yes.
oh, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, because our babies that look like us,
Yeah,
they're not ours.
mini-me.
It's Maya's ultimate trick.
Yeah. Don't be a materialistic pet owner.
You know, you could even shorten that to
Mini-me is Maya.
mini-me is Maya.
Mini-me is Maya. Okay. And what was the other one, Mara? About the pets?
Mini-me is Mahamaya, perhaps.
Mini-me is
You
Maya.
like that?
No.
No. Okay.
Mini-me is Maya. Better
Mini-me
flow.
is mini-Maya.
Mini Maya.
Don't be a materialistic pet owner.
Yeah, don't be a good pet owner. Be a self-realized pet owner. There you go. How's that?
There you
Okay.
go.
Self-realized pet owner. We all have to surrender to a superior force. Surrender to the perfect supreme person.
Yeah.
We all get a little warped and jaded. Don't
That's a takeaway.
don't guard
Yeah, we do get warped and jaded.
don't guard yourself against love of divinity. That's the next
Okay.
part. It's kind of like a
Yeah,
two-part. Do you like
okay.
that?
Goes with it. Yeah.
Ooh.
All right. And don't look a monkey in the eye unless you're a sadhu.
That's right. Careful.
You
with
always
those
end with some
monkeys.
like clever, funny one. And don't look a monkey in the eye. Right?
Yeah, well, that's the nice way to end it, right? It's got style. Yeah.
That's my retirement. What is that what I say? That's my retirement?
Yeah.
That's my retirement.
I think you say
plan.
retirement plan.
That's my retirement plan. I'm gonna make $1 million. I gotta figure out how to make memes. That's my retirement plan. Whoever's good at making memes, make me some good sadhu. That's my retirement memes, please.
You got the photos. How you do this. Writing it.
Yeah. Like that meme, like, I'm gonna tell my kids that's straight edge. I'm gonna tell my kids that's, you know that meme?